How are we doing, everyone? Thank you very much for joining my latest video. I really appreciate it. Just like to start off by saying thank you to everyone that continues to subscribe and comment and share my videos. I really appreciate it. So today it's obviously about the Rwanda plan today, and as I said in the last video, this was supposed to be done a couple of weeks ago, as was the other one. I'm trying to get back to the schedule that I was on just before everything kicked off here, which was obviously a couple of videos a week, or at least 2 videos a week, and a live stream. I'm definitely going to get a live stream in this week. It'll either be on Tuesday or Wednesday, or maybe even Thursday night. I'll need to take a look at my diary. So just to let you know that, and I'll post it exactly when it's going to be. So just keep an eye out for that. So today, obviously, there's been it was a couple of weeks ago. There's been an agreement now that the Rwanda plan is now lawful and the flights can start taking off. Now, I've not really had a chance to really look at Rwanda, to be honest with you, just what I've kind of heard on the passing. But I've had a chance to do that today and yesterday, because I kept asking myself, I mean, why Rwanda? I mean, what is it? What's Rishi done? Is he just sent emails to all these third world countries saying, look, we need a shore to dump these people onto, because we don't want them, or they're illegal immigrants, and they just agreed to that. And I thought, well, surely that's not what's happened. But then, so I've done a bit of digging and looking into Rwanda, and it's obviously had its conflicts in the past. It's seen as a place where people can go to get safeguarding and protected. They had a conflict in 1994 where there was an unfortunate genocide. But it would appear that it is a third world country who use their economies backed mostly by subsistence farming or subsistence agriculture, which the tools that they use are apparently very rudimentary, which made me think straight away that, well, is that part of the deterrent, that if you try and enter a country illegally like the UK, you will then be deported to a country which hasn't got the same resources as the country that you've just been deported from. I mean, I'm not saying anything against Rwanda. I'm sure that there's something romantic about the simplicity of that. However, a lot of people, men especially in the modern age, I don't think would be too accustomed to using rudimentary farming tools. But that is what it's backed by, their economy anyway. So is that part of the deterrent? It may be. Apparently the UK have given to date Rwanda £240 million, which to us is still quite a lot of money, but when you get into the numbers of immigration and how much that's costing, it's just a drop in the bucket, which I have done some sums with that. It's just to put into context exactly what this is costing this country. And I know it's not all about money, that's obviously secondary. The primary reason for these migrations is obviously because people are looking to get access to an easy system, and I'm not ashamed to say that. That is the vast majority of why these people are here. And Albanians, I'd heard that there's been an agreement struck with the Albanian government as well, because over a third of the arrivals are coming from Albania, which is not war-torn, as I understand it. I mean, Rishi Sunak, he calls this immigration a phenomenon. It's not a phenomenon, mate. That's not what it is. This has been created. It's been created for a the concept of it was created a very, very long time ago. And as I've said many times, it's done to destabilise communities. It puts people in fear. Well, look at the fear people are in. I mean, I've said it before, that boat and Dover, I mean, I watched a couple of mothers, and they were absolutely distraught at the fact that this barge was sitting there with all these young men in it. And I'm not saying they were all innocent, but you can't think that they were all guilty either. But that's part of the reason why it's been done, because they know people give up consent when they're in fear. Well, they give it up a lot easier anyway. But I mean, imagine calling it a phenomenon. But anyway, it has been agreed. This Rwanda plan was actually initially thought up by Boris Johnson. I doubt it would have been thought up by him, but he was the Prime Minister when it was agreed that was what was going to need to happen. And then the EHRC, the European Court of Human Rights, or the Human Rights Commission, they had initially came in and said that they had to stop it based on humanitarian reasons. Now, this is not about, it's not about people. These people do not care about people. They certainly don't care about immigrants coming from third world countries, or any country really. They don't care about the people in this country. So it's not about people. So whoever it is that's pulling the strings at these courts, they are involved in this agenda, there's no doubt about it, and they will have been paid off to do that. I mean, obviously I've no evidence to support that, but that's just my general opinion, because that's how it's done. And they, but I think it was last November it was initially agreed that then the planes could then take off, and Sunak's press conference the other week there, they're looking to start getting these planes taken off as quickly as possible now. I mean, they say everyone has a right to seek asylum, but this is what I'm saying, they're not seeking asylum. Because, right, if you're in a war-torn country and the chances are you could go to the shop and get blown up, then that's fair enough. You need to seek refuge for you and your family. That's fine. But as I've just said, over a third of arrivals are coming from Albania, and how many are coming from Romania? There's quite a lot. Like I said, to work for DWP, so I know there's a lot of Romanian immigrants coming here, and these countries are not in a state of war, so they cannot, by that definition, seek asylum. Because if you're going to start saying, well, they're seeking asylum from the system that's suppressing them and pushing them into poverty, well, where can we do that? Because this system's doing exactly the same to us here. So why haven't we got something in place where, like, we can't just go to Spain and decide that, right, okay, I'm going to go and rent that flat. Yes, the local housing allowance allows for it, so I can move in there. They'll pay me £400 a month, which will keep me going until I decide to get a job. That doesn't work like that for us, right? So it would appear that the British government are being blackmailed and guilted by these human rights groups because we're not giving people asylum. But what I would ask these groups is, well, if they're seeking asylum from a system, an unfair system, then where can British people seek asylum from an unfair system? The answer is, we cannot. So why is this being held against us when in other countries that's just standard operating procedure, when it's done to safeguard economies? It's so that people can't just come in. That's why these bloody rules are there, so that you can't go in and just decide that you're going to go and lie on the couch and wait for a job to come along. I mean, like I said, I told a story in the last video that there was an appointment where, I can't remember what happened, but it was something to do with, it was like somebody who came from, I think it was Romania or Ukraine or something like that, I can't remember, and it was like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's what was his daughter had called up just to conduct the call, because like he didn't want to do it, he wanted her to do it. And I had said, look, he needs to give informed consent, and she had to wake, you could hear him snoring in the background, and she had to wake him up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I can't remember, for him to take his call, because he didn't want to do it. But he had to give informed consent. Now, it didn't sit right with me that. I mean, the guy would have been in his 40s or 50s, like, and it's like, you're not, it stuck with me, because it happened quite a while ago. And I thought, that's not somebody that's here looking for a job, right? You've got an appointment here that's supposed to be to help you find work. And not only have you just passed it over for your daughter to deal with it, but you're lying and sleeping on the bloody couch, snoring, while she's making the call. It's wrong, like, but this is the reality of it. People are coming here because they're thinking, and I've said this before, what, you get paid for 2 kids and rent and standard allowance, plus I can ask for a work capability assessment. How much have we got in the bank, sweetheart? We're going to Britain. That's what's going on. And it's a very, very simple, there's a very simple solution to it. What country are you from? Oh, I'm from France, or I'm from Albania or Romania. Very sorry, but you're not permitted to live or to stay in the UK. Now, I had a look at the government website, and it states clearly on there, like, it states clearly that even if you're not permitted to be here, you will receive £49.50 in aid. Now, it doesn't state whether that's daily, weekly or monthly. I would like to think it's weekly, but I don't know that. It was hard to try and ascertain exactly how much it was, or for how long a period it was for. But that's not deterring people, because and it relates back to the woke corner, where it's all wokery and it's we can't be seen to be throwing people out. And I mean, I had a look at, I can't remember the name of the website, I read an article on it and they were talking about it, and I've actually emailed them to ask them what the hell they mean, like, because they're sitting saying that, again, it was like we were being guilted. Oh, we've just to send people to a shore in Rwanda that because we don't want to take them in, and it was basically, they were feeling guilty for it. And I emailed them, I was like, well, hold on a minute, you're talking about everyone has the right to seek asylum, but these people that you're talking about, or the vast majority of them, are not seeking asylum. So what are you talking about? And people need to get out of this nonsense and being worried, oh, I better not, in case they think I'm a racist or a right-winger or a conspiracy theorist. Who cares? Who cares if that's what they think? We need to stand up for the people of this country, and it doesn't mean that, and I know there's I don't know what it is, I never looked at it, but it's some kind of loophole to get them to just go to Ireland straight away. And we can't just decide that, well, that's okay, they're not coming to our shores now, they're going to Ireland, so I can get on with making the dinner or watching Netflix or whatever it is, because I don't need to worry about that now. That's not the way to approach it either, because we need, that's what sticking together is. It's everybody's problem, this, on these shores. But apparently, as I was saying there, Ireland have found a loophole, apparently, I don't know how true it is, where they can send them right back. How's about sending them back to where they came from, if the country's not in a state of war? I don't understand why that is not possible. What is the problem with that? By saying, what country are you from? Right, it's not in a state of war, so we need to send you back. I don't understand why a human rights group needs to intervene in that. If they're coming from somewhere like Syria, and then you say, no, we need to send, then fine, human rights groups need to be used, because that is human rights being breached, that everyone should be allowed to be safe, they should be afforded safety and security. So if you're coming from a state of war into a country that's to look for asylum, to seek asylum, and then you say, no, you're getting, then fine, that's fine, but that is not what's happening. It's not what's happening. Somebody made I'm going to say it, I've said it before, but somebody made a brilliant comment, it was a couple of months ago now, which was right at the start. They said, when you're passing through 10 different countries to get to the UK, you're not seeking asylum, you're seeking a benefit lifestyle, you're seeking the benefits. And that's absolutely true, I would agree with that 100%. And then I started to look at the numbers. I started to look at the numbers for immigration, right? And just a rough idea, just to kind of put it into some context, as to how much this is actually costing, and if this Rwanda plan is the way to go. So, and I couldn't believe this, like, the apparent cost to deport migrants costs 2 million per person. And I thought, it can't be 2 million per person. No, 2 million, I think it's 300 migrants. Yeah, to deport migrants, 2 million per person equals 300 migrants, 5.6 million a day to hotel migrants, with a further 1.6 million for the Afghan evacuee plan. So, it is a ridiculous amount of money. And apparently the asylum seekers, like I said there, they get £49.18, I don't know if it's daily or weekly. And there's 84,425 people seeking asylum. I mean, 300 migrants at 2 million. Every 300 migrants is £600 million. And because there's 84,425 asylum seekers, and I've done this with the calculator, that would need to be done 281 times. Take off maybe 10 for the actual asylum seekers, you're maybe left with 271 times you need to do that to clear the migrations. That's going to cost Britain 168,600,000,000. it is just absolutely unbelievable. And this is why they need to be held accountable for the destruction of the country, because it doesn't matter what you do. These migrants that are being, this is why I was trying to work it out, because these migrants are, I mean, they're living in hotels. So I was trying to grasp how much, like, what way is cheaper, or is the Rwanda plan cheaper to start deporting these people than what it is keeping them in a hotel? Of course it is in the long run. Of course it is in the absolute long run. But when you look at how much it costs, 5.6 million pounds a day to hotel migrants, with a further 1.6 million for the Afghan evacuee plan. So I mean, that's 7-8 million a day, daily. And it's catastrophic to the British economy. So it's either 8 million a day or 168 billion. It's ridiculous. It really is an astronomical, unfathomable amount of bloody money. And it's us that's paying for that. And I've said it before, I don't care if people think I'm racist. There's not a racist bone in my body. I've lived in loads of different places when I was a kid and that, and that teaches you that stuff. So, and I don't care who comes to this country for a better life. Everyone, if they've got the savvy, should be allowed to go and do that. However, what is the plans when you're going to go and do that? I mean, if you're just thinking that's an easy life, I'm just going to sit and watch the telly all day, then I'm sorry, but you're not welcome here. You shouldn't be welcome here. And it's like you wouldn't be allowed to ask those questions, because you would be seen as infringing on their human rights. I mean, I told that story about the guy that I was working with that asked someone how long they'd been in the country and he got sacked because of the woke mentality. And I ask you, like, I mean, where does this end? Where does it end? I don't know where this ends. I'm hearing Vietnamese people are starting to come in now. So what is the end game here? What do we do? Do we just sit back and say, okay, we'll be nice and woke and we'll get people into the country? And I heard somebody saying not long ago that if it wasn't for immigrants, we wouldn't have fish and chips. It's like, what? But what's that got to do with what we're talking about now? Fine, I'm grateful for that. We got fish and chips. But what the hell has that got to do with what we're talking about now? Absolutely nothing. Because the vast majority, and it's not true of all these migrants. And I've spoken to one day, and she was from, I can't remember where she was from. I think it was maybe Poland, and it was like she was almost ashamed to be an immigrant because she didn't want to be tarred with the same brush as everyone else. And I commended her because she had children and she was working 3 jobs, and one of them was in a bar. And I asked her, like, she was at it constantly. Obviously she had family members that had helped her out with looking after the kids and stuff, but I asked her, I said, I'd said to her, I said, I couldn't do what you do, like. And she says, yeah, I know a lot of people say that to me. But she says, look, I just want to show people that not all immigrants are just here for benefits. I'm here to better my life. And I had a great conversation with her, I really did, and I took my hat off to her, I commended her, and I said to her, I said, just keep on doing what you're doing, you're an amazing person, you're such a hard worker. And I'd said to her, like, I says, well, I don't look at you prying into your business, always used to say that, but are you doing this because you are genuinely struggling to make ends meet? Or are you doing this so that no one can call you a scrounging migrant? Because I said to her, I says, look, even if you had only had the one job, like, no one can hold that against you. You're here working, you're not claiming benefits. You're here working. So you don't need to do 3 jobs just because of what everyone else thinks of you. Well, that's really, thank you very much. I didn't think it like that. And I genuinely, she could probably done away with one of the jobs and still lived. She could probably done away with 2 of them and still live pretty comfortably. But this is, and you have to remember that there is decent human beings that come from these countries that are just looking to maybe come and do a job that someone in Britain might not want to do, and we have to remember that. But when you talk about some of the money that's being chucked about here, I mean, even the 240 million just to Rwanda for the plan, and I don't know what context that's in and what it's for and what they're going to do when they get to Rwanda. Couldn't seem to find any of that stuff, like, but it's just, it's absolute craziness. It really is, when you think about the poverty that's going on here, and I keep saying it this as well, the amount of people you see losing weight and they're obviously skipping meals, while this type of money is being bandied about. I mean, 168 billion, but as I've done in my time to cut costs video, they've wiped at least 50 billion off from the communities of Britain since this switch over to this new benefit system. It's at least that, which is a lot of money to us. I mean, you get someone that maybe won the lottery, and even a town this size, 5,000-6,000 people, and you put £1 million into it, you would see a difference. Like even just in a local food bank or something like that, or in an area that was struggling with stuff like that, if you put £1 million into that, you would see a difference. Maybe, I mean, it's the old, you need to teach someone how to fish rather than give them a fish concept, but it doesn't change the fact that £1 million is an astronomical amount of money that would help people. But they don't want to give that. They're taking it from us. They would rather spend our resources on sending immigrants back. And people say, well, Alan, you've just said they need to go back. Yes, they do. However, who let them in the bloody first place? They need to be held accountable. And why were they let in? And why, Rishi, are you calling this migrant crisis a phenomenon? It's not a phenomenon. It's been engineered. How can I read in books from 1996 and 1997 that have talked exactly what we're dealing with now? How can you call that a phenomenon, mate? He's just a liar. He's just, honest to God, he's such a bloody liar. And see, when he was answering those questions, oh yes, we'll have the Times next. Oh, and we'll have the, whatever it was, the Guardian. It was fucking pathetic, like. It's like, honestly, man, I can't get my head around why someone would get up, they would get dressed and go and vote in a national election for this man or any of them. I do not understand it. And people say we need Labour back in. No, we don't, because that'll make it worse. I don't know where it ends. I don't know where it ends. And how long is it going to be before this ends up like Ireland? And I feel sorry for the Irish people across the Irish Sea there. I really do, because they're decent people, the Irish. And when the Irish are saying, look, we can't take it anymore. You know they can't take it anymore. And I'll go back to the church analogy. If there's a Christian church on a road somewhere and 50 people need shelter, food and shelter, the Christian church brings them in and they give them food and shelter, then another 50 arrive. What do they have to do? Well, they have to turn them away because they've only got resources for 50 people. That's it. Shelter and food for 50 people, which means they would need to move the other 50 on in the hopes they'd find another one down the road. Doesn't make them unchristian. It just makes them human. I'm very sorry, I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to have to move you on because the people we have here, that's the only resources we have. And if we start bringing even one or two of these in, it takes food from my family's plate, the vicar, whoever it is, and the people that operate the church. So I would be going without to give just a couple more of yours. That is basically what's happening here. That's what they're asking people to do. And again, we need to adopt a policy of some kind along the lines of maybe in America or something, because I'd love to go and live in another country for a while. It's just not as easy just to go in and do it though, is it? I need to go and save up, get back to work full time properly and save up proper money. And then I would need to obviously make my plans. So why is it that people just need to jump on a dinghy to come here, and whether they're legal or not, they can just remain here, which it states in the government bloody website. They're telling them to come here. They are telling them to come here. Again, for reasons explained. It's the grand chessboard where they're moving people into position. That's what they're doing. It's like it is. It's going to be like a Hunger Games society here. I mean, like I said, it started a year and a half ago when I started doing that job. It was probably before that, because no one. We're a proud nation. Like, we're very proud here in Britain. And even if we were struggling to eat, like if we were feeding our kids and keeping everything, but we were struggling to eat, but I don't know how many people would actually admit that here in Britain, because we are proud and we're strong and we keep calm and carry on, is a lot of people, the saying that a lot of people use in this country, not so much now, like, but they did used to use it. And that's what needs to happen. We need something like that in place where we can deter these people from coming. And like I say, I mean, the Rwanda plan, it must, to be sent to that country. I think that if you're going to make a decision like that, right, I'm going to go to that country and just seek benefits. Then you hear about the Rwanda plan, where actually you can be deported to Rwanda, which is a third world country essentially, with a rudimentary operation, a rudimentary system in place. They're probably a lot happier than me, like, but then I think they would, for a lot of young men who have started out with the idea that they're going to have a nice, easy, free life, to then be confronted with that, I think it may deter some of them. I don't think it will deter all of them, though the boats will still come. So I think that the only thing to do is to stop giving people benefits. Stop doing it. We can't go to other countries and claim benefits. We can't do it. Why? So what's the difference if we say no? But it's about fairness. It is about fairness. That's the thing. Why can't we have those standards? Why are we held to higher standards than those types of countries? Because we're the fathers of democracy. Democracy isn't what you think it is. It doesn't exist in the way you think it does either. This is a monarchy we live in, because the Queen still rules. And all this nonsense about people, oh, she's only here for the tourists. That's bullshit as well, because that concept or that opinion had to be dispensed with when she had to attend Parliament a few years ago. So, that's why she's not supposed to be in Parliament, because it gives up the game. But she did have to attend it on time when they were knocking the cane on the door. It was like a medieval bloody Freemasonic ritual. It was despicable. It really was. But that dispensed with that opinion that no one can say that anymore, that they're just here for the tourists. I don't know how anybody could ever say it anyway. It's nonsense. Like, when you think you can't even get arrested. So to think that somebody like that's got no power. And I'll tell you, just before I go, when it came out about Andrew and Epstein, the anchor Megyn Kelly, you call her, I think she worked for Fox, and she wanted to run the story on it to her credit. And apparently, obviously it wouldn't have been the Queen directly, but members of the Queen's entourage had contacted Fox News or CNN or whoever she worked for to say that the story would not be run. And it didn't. It was about 3 years after. This was in 2013-14 this happened, or it might have been a little bit earlier. But she told the story in 2016-17 when it obviously came to light. She said she was contacted by members of the entourage of the Windsors to say that story would not be run. And there was a guy I used to speak to, and he used to say that to me all the time, well, they're just there for the tourists. And I'd asked him, I said, well, if they're just there for the tourists and not got any power, then how the hell can they make a phone call from England to America to say, well, actually, you're not running that story? They're not, the Americans is not even in the Commonwealth. So I'll leave you to ponder that. I would like to thank you again for watching. Apologies again for not as much content. There's a mixture between hitting a block and being very, very busy in my private life. That's starting to subside a little bit now, so and I can sort of get back to putting more videos out there. And like I say, I'm going to be doing a live definitely at some point this week. It'll be Thursday at the latest, but I'll keep you all up to date. And I've got another content for another couple of videos as well, so it should be 3 this week. Again, thank you very much for continuing to support me. I hope I can keep you all informed. I wish you all the very, very best, and I hope to see you on the live and on the next videos. Thank you very much for watching, and look after yourselves, okay?